cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans. Plus, get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
A reminder to anyone who rides Metro buses. That means the A, B, C, D, gold, orange, or red lines. Remember to pay your fare before you get on. Either buy a ticket at your station's ticket machine, tap your go-to card, or pass to the reader at the station, or activate a ticket on the Metro Transit app. Have your proof of payment ready to show to trip agents if asked, or risk getting a citation. Thanks for riding with Metro Transit. Again, that's Metro Transit.
Time is running out to see Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This moving exhibition of painting, poetry, and installation art explores memory's fragility and strength, honoring stories passed through generations. The show closes December 13th, so don't miss your chance to experience this transformative work. Visit All My Relations Arts before it's gone. Learn more about exhibition hours and events at allmyrelationsarts.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with temperatures rising to 21, then Friday, snow with a high of 30. AM 950 needs your support to help keep the progressive voices you love on the air. If you can, head over to am950radio.com and make a donation. As a thank you, we'll send you the 6th annual AM 950 calendar featuring Matt McNeil's photography. That's am950radio.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more regressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. And hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, today we're going to have our friend Robert Lilligren of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, for our show. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things that are going on all over Turtle Island. Before we get Robert on, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on. I did go last night, and I got to see Christmas in Ochapi, and it was fabulous. And again, it's a play by Montana Cypress, and he's a pretty famous dude. It was so funny, and I want to encourage everybody out there to go see this play and support local theater. Also, supporting things out there. We want to make sure, we just had Angie Vig on yesterday at Vig Guitars, and that's a Native American store here in St. Paul. And one of the best fixing guitar places. Go check them out and buy some Christmas presents. And also, we are at Southdale with Wendy's Art stop on by, pick up a card, buy a print of all her great animal paintings. And then again, Native Roots Trading Post is at Dayton's in downtown Minneapolis. So go check that out and support Native artists that we support at Native Roots Trading Post. Again, we're going to have Robert Lilligren on here today, and just really excited about having Robert on because we really talk about a lot of great things. He is so informative about what's going on in Turtle Island, and I just want to what I'd like to do is just read, if I can, if I have it up here. I thought I had it up here, but let me just take a look here as we're talking here live on the air. I wanted to talk a little bit about who Robert is, and before he comes on, and I just had this up here a minute ago. Let me just check it out here. I'm going to talk a little bit again about Robert Lilligren. And one of the things that I always love to talk about with Robert, too, is his father was on WCCO radio for many, many years, and I grew up with him. And really, his father must be proud of him up there in the sky. And, one of the things that just, is really exciting. Robert has been, he's a city council member, first openly gay and Native American city council member. And he's been with the Native American Community Development Institute for many years since the beginning. And then he became the CEO in 2016. And he's here right now to save me here. And Robert, always great to see you. And we got a lot to talk about. And
yes, we do. Bonjour, Robert. I thought I was supposed to be on at 5:10. Did I get the time wrong?
No, perfect.
Oh,
I
okay.
was just rapping and talking about Christmas in Ochapi and our store in Southdale and Dayton's, and then support Native artists and things like that. And then I got into your bio because I don't really read your bio that much when you're on, and I was reading that to our listeners before you came on. So no, you're perfect timing.
Yeah, I read my bio every morning, Robert. Just to get
I'm here wishing I had a bio. Oh, wow.
I guess I even have a Wikipedia page, but I've never touched it myself. I didn't create it. I don't even know who did create it, actually.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Well, and
page.
I don't have a Wikipedia either, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yep.
No, I'll start one tomorrow.
Right. There's somebody else start one for you.
Exactly. Well, hey, there is a lot going on, and I don't know where to start, but our relatives are being attacked, and it just reminds me of the way the natives were attacked continue to be attacked. Trump's getting his stuff from Hitler, and Hitler got his stuff from the United States, so it's all a big circular mess, Robert.
It is a big circular mess. It's terrifying, really, and it's hard to know what to do, right, and how to respond. And just before this, I was looking at some live feed from the parking lot of the Target store on East Lake Street, where ICE was staging their raids and big community protests and things. And Target's reputation. I haven't shopped there since they canceled their DEI stuff, and
right.
So this isn't going to help their reputation being so closely associated with ICE, especially when you look at the customers are on the East Lake Street Target. It's brown folks, right? It's so close to Little Ethiopian United Tribes. It's the Latino community heavily, the Somali community. And so, yeah. But what's happening here, and I'm guessing many people have heard what the president said, the hideous words about our Somali neighbors and Somali relatives, and that they're, I think we call them animals. Do you call them animals? And they're not welcome here. And Minneapolis is a hub. The Twin Cities, really, but Minneapolis and the Twin Cities are a hub for Somali folks. Just like 80,000+ Somali folks here. They're very integrated into our community. They represent population growth, workforce growth. They are very engaged and integrated into our politics. We have, I don't even know how many now, probably at least 10, if not more, Somali. No, I'm sure it's more than 10 because they're in the House of the State House, State Senate. We have mayors that are Somali and, city council members. And it's just, And so they're part of our community. And so now all of a sudden to have a president of the United States dehumanize them in this way and then target them through ICE enforcement, through immigration enforcement. And 80% of these Somalis are citizens. Half of them are native born. They were born here, right? As American as anyone, and it's just this racist BS. And like you said, it's that Nazi-like dehumanizing of a whole group of people, so then you can do what you want to them, right?
Well, it's interesting. I just don't think Trump's smart enough to be, reading the papers and seeing what's going on here. So he's got people working for him that are Nazis, as far as I'm concerned, and that are feeding him all this information because we know Donnie's only up a few hours a day and he sleeps till noon and he doesn't read. So we have issues with more than just him. And that's the fearful part for me.
I agree. A lot of his cabinet, his closest advisors are Nazis. I mean, they're aligned with Nazi organizations. They're open about it, right? And when he made this hideous statement, was it just yesterday, right? About our local Somali community targets Minnesota. He said Minnesota is a hellhole, and targets Minnesota. And this was after one of those bizarre 3-hour cabinet meetings that he televises, where he goes around the table and every cabinet member praises him, right? They just say all these wonderful things. Kristi Noem credited him for keeping hurricanes away from the United States. Right, and that's a legitimate thing for a cabinet member to even believe, let alone say out loud. And then during that 3-hour meeting, he was sleeping. He was literally sleeping half the time. He wakes up and makes this hideous statement.
Wow, we got more to talk about. We're here with our friend Robert Lilligren, Native American Community Development Institute, a White Earth citizen, Ojibwe. We always like to bring that up. And this is Native Roots Radio, and we're going to be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Hoa!
If you're in need of food resources, Hennepin County is here to help. Food shelves near you are ready with fresh, nutritious food. SNAP remains open. You can continue applying for benefits. If you are expecting or have children ages 0 to 5, WIC can provide even more support. Get connected to free or low-cost food resources near you at hennepin.us/food-help. Again, that address is hennepin.us/food-help.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
A reminder to anyone who rides Metro buses. That means the A, B, C, D, gold, orange, or red lines. Remember to pay your fare before you get on. Either buy a ticket at your station's ticket machine, tap your go-to card, or pass to the reader at the station, or activate a ticket on the Metro Transit app. Have your proof of payment ready to show to trip agents if asked, or risk getting a citation. Thanks for riding with Metro Transit. Again, that's Metro Transit.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans. Plus, get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot along with Robert Lilligren, and I want to read your bio here, and just real quick here, because I was stumbling on that, Robert. I lost my page here on my other computer, but I am a professional, and I'm bouncing back here, and I want to say Robert became president and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute, NACD, in May of 2016 after serving as the chair of the organization's board of directors since the founding in 2007. Robert is an enrolled with the White Earth Ojibwe Nation, and he served 12 years as vice president. 12 years as the vice president of the Minneapolis City Council, the first tribal member elected to public office in the city of Minneapolis. And that's who we're talking to right now. I'd just like to remind a lot of our listeners, because we get new listeners all the time, of who you are and you know, how much I appreciate you coming on and talking our truth here in the Twin Cities and nationally.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Robert. It's always a pleasure to be here. I appreciate having this time with you as well, and to recognize, you know, what you do to lift up the community here, which is a lot. And yeah, so thank you. I appreciate it.
And I just saw you recently at the Minneapolis Indian Center, and that was a fabulous event that you had.
Wasn't that something? It was different, you know, and it was the brainchild of the Minneapolis American Indian Center's director, Mary Lagarde, my whiter sister, and she dedicated some staff, and we had a couple staff at NACD that stepped in to do the logistics and planning, and it was sort of it was somewhat framed around Giving Tuesday, where the people are encouraged to give to nonprofits, but we didn't bill it as that or promote it as that because we didn't want community to feel like there was a barrier, right? Like you had to give to come to the event. But there were dozens of Native orgs tabling there, and non-Native orgs, neighborhood organizations and things, and it was just a really positive space. And it was great networking, you know, and I got to connect with pretty much everyone I wanted to connect with in the community. And the feedback we're getting is so positive. I'm sure we'll continue to do this. And we do a number of these resource fairs and things, but this one just had a more social vibe, I think, a more community vibe. It was kind of star-studded. Chef Sean Sherman had his nonprofit there, and he was there for a bit. Renowned author Diane Wilson was there, and media superstar Robert Pilot. So
it was funny too. I saw Diane and Allison introduced us, and I said, "Wait a minute, are you the author?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I go, "You've been on my show."
Well, funny, huh? Right. Was that Allison Walkout?
Yeah.
I'm a moving leader in our community, Allison Walkout.
Yeah. You know, and she really, her prior job, she was really all the community, and I'm glad she's doing what she's doing now. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, but she's doing amazing work and kind of partnership with you too.
Somewhat, right. And so Allison works for the Metropolitan Council, which is our 7-county regional governance body. I'm a member of the Metropolitan Council, first tribal member ever in its 50-plus year history. And we've really worked in tandem to center Native voices in policymaking. And we had a process proposed. Originally, it was supposed to be a land acknowledgement or something like that. And I was like, yeah, no, Native people are kind of over those right now. You know, we need to ask the community what they want out of this. And so we assembled an advisory group of about 15 people, predominantly Lakota people whose, you know, ancestral lands were on. There was Ojibwe representation, Ho-Chunk representation. That was you. Thanks so much for doing that. And you guys did amazing work. And you instantly, the very first meeting, shifted it to commitments rather than acknowledgements or a statement. And so these land, water, and people commitments that this advisory group developed really have been successful. And in my public policy career, 25 years now, I've been part of a number of sort of stuff like this, but somehow this one is really sticking. And Allison is a big part of that. And so she keeps promoting it. She keeps engaging. She was our sole Native liaison at Met Council, and now we're expanding that cadre into each division in each area. But the cool thing is, and we got this accomplished right in front of our decennial, every 10 years, our comprehensive planning process. So right now we're in the process of planning for 2050, the year 2050. And you can just see how the work that y'all did is really integrated into this. I mean, it's a joy. You know, you read in regional policy that describes water as a relative, for example. And, you know, that perspective it changes things. It's something, oh yeah, I'm related to this. I'm going to treat it differently, you know. Land acknowledges and honors the land. I mean, it's cool.
It's very cool. And one of the things that I enjoy being a small part of that is that they're really hungry in doing what's right. And, you know, one of the things I believe that we're not educated on is, you know, sovereignty. What is sovereignty? And I'm really pushing that. And I think once people that work for Met Council understand what that means,
right,
then a light bulb's going to probably go off.
I agree. And it's so interesting. I just was in a conversation with community this morning about it. And, you know, in the urban communities, it's complicated, right? We're not on our sovereign land. We're not in our sovereign nations, yet we're a sovereign people and we walk in our sovereignty here, right? And so what does that mean? And through the work that you did at Met Council, you identified 150 tribes that are represented in our metropolitan population. You know, and so what does that mean to the balance of those who are not from one of the 11 federally recognized tribes here in Minnesota, or tribes like yours that we're from here and got, you know, pushed out. So it's a fascinating, complicated conversation, and it's nuanced, and it's not something I'm accustomed to feeling so good about in the policy realm, and now I do. And so thanks again to your work, to Allison's work. She's just a superstar. She's been working in the public sector for a while now. She used to work for our county, Hennepin County. She worked for our library system there and doing kind of the same kind of liaison work. And there's a special kind of person that can do that, can go into the system and into these institutions that are hostile to us, right? And to really start changing them from the inside. The host of Minneapolis Air, Christine McDonald, is another great example of that. And I feel like when these people are willing to go into the system and try to improve it, we need to support them, right?
Yeah.
They're not selling out. They're really going in and representing.
Yeah, well, you know, as you know, we talk a lot about, you know, our younger generation and even our generation starting to get educated and pulling up a chair to the table, you know, that cliche, but really that's been happening, you know, since our generation, and it's really accelerating, I believe, with our younger ones.
Right. And I love that. I love that they're doing it, and that we're figuring this out as a community, right? Of how we can sort of work. I call it the inside outside game, right? You got to respect people's roles. It's a very indigenous way, I think. Respect their roles. You know, roles can change, but we need the people who are the agitators, the activists, the direct action kind of activists. And sometimes we're doing that, right? We're the ones that are out there demonstrating, but the activists, and then we need the people who are willing to go inside the system. And for me, that was my trajectory, right? I was a screamy rock thrower kind of activist, and then I ran for Minneapolis City Council. To everyone's surprise, I won and served there for 12 years. But I had to really go deep and and say, okay, I'm changing, right? I'm going in the system that I've been fighting for decades, and how can I do this? How do I maintain my my sanity doing that? But also, how do I make sure I have the support of the community while I'm doing it?
Wow, yeah, that's the more we talk, it's like you should write a book, because there's a roadmap that you've gone through here, whether you planned it or not, that's been very successful to do just what you said, and that's become part of the solution.
No, I love that. I love that you're saying that. While you were talking, I got a campaign text from our writer sister, Peggy Flanagan, our Lieutenant Governor. We just heard her voice a minute ago, who's running for U.S. Senate right now. And of course, we all want her to be our senator. She's great. She's a great representative. She's a great politician and things, but she's really blazing a trail. She's going further than I ever did, which is just fine.
Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break here, and we're with Robert Lilligren, and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute, NACD. I've been practicing, Robert.
Good.
Hey, we're going to be right back, and I want to talk a little bit about NACD. It's how I like to bring this up every once in a while, how you work as an office and as an organization, and also some more things that are happening down Franklin Avenue and all the good collaboration that's happening.
Cool.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back. We're with Robert Lilligren.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans. Plus, get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
A reminder to anyone who rides Metro buses. That means the A, B, C, D, gold, orange, or red lines. Remember to pay your fare before you get on. Either buy a ticket at your station's ticket machine, tap your go-to card, or pass to the reader at the station, or activate a ticket on the Metro Transit app. Have your proof of payment ready to show to trip agents if asked, or risk getting a citation. Thanks for riding with Metro Transit. Again, that's Metro Transit.
Time is running out to see Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This moving exhibition of painting, poetry, and installation art explores memory's fragility and strength, honoring stories passed through generations. The show closes December 13th, so don't miss your chance to experience this transformative work. Visit All My Relations Arts before it's gone. Learn more about exhibition hours and events at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
If you're in need of food resources, Hennepin County is here to help. Food shelves near you are ready with fresh, nutritious food. SNAP remains open. You can continue applying for benefits. If you are expecting or have children ages 0 to 5, WIC can provide even more support. Get connected to free or low-cost food resources near you at hennepin.us/food-help. Again, that address is hennepin.us/food-help.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts.
So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with temperatures rising to 21, then Friday, snow with a high of 30. Maverick's Real Roast Beef is an East Metro treasure with the best roast beef sandwiches in the Twin Cities, but don't miss out on the chicken, Philly steak, brisket, fish, and more. Maverick's is in Roseville on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Check them out at mavericksbeef.com. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are with our friend Robert Lilligren. And boy, we always have a great conversation. I know we had somebody post here on, I believe it was Facebook, saying that they always enjoy the show when Robert Lilligren is on.
Oh, thanks.
and so do I. So there's a lot to talk about, and specifically we talked a little bit about our relatives in the Franklin, or our corridor, which is our Somali relatives, and how we need to support, and there's just so much else going on, it's just hard for me to talk about because I was a teacher, Robert, and I remember when the Somalis first came here, and they were, I was amazed, one, that they'd only been here a few years, and they spoke English well. They knew what was going on, and they were on top of things. And there was a lot of trauma from the people that came here too. So I had a lot of respect for where they came from and what happened. And the United States did a good thing by, offering them to come here.
Agree. And, there's a lot to unpack in what you just said. But when I was on Minneapolis City Council, I represented the bulk of the Somali community, or a lot of it. And so I knew to be successful, I had to figure out how to engage these communities. They're a lot like Indigenous people, right? They're very tribal, they're, and things. And so I hired Somali staff for sure in my city hall office, but really got to engage with the community and have followed this trajectory, right? Minneapolis has a lot of organizations, agencies that do refugee resettlement. And so we have these growth. Our growth, and oftentimes comes from refugees or asylees, and there's waves of them. I remember back in the early 80s, it was Russian asylees and refugees, and there's been others. And so the last big wave, the Southeast Asian, Pacific Islander refugees. And the last big wave was the Somalis, and it hasn't been that long. I mean, it's really just been from around 2000, maybe so. But once there was this critical mass of Somalis settled here, then it started to grow, and it's internationally recognized now. We have a few malls, the 24th Street Mall, Carmel Mall, which are becoming focuses for these ICE raids that are, people travel from all over the country to shop at these malls, and they're nothing fancy, but they serve the community, right? And there's all this growth, and so it's particularly disturbing to see this ICE activity, but even here in the community. So a lot of the Somali folks live right in the same geography as our native folks, and so there's every opportunity for conflict and friction, and because of the Somali status as refugees or asylees, that creates greater eligibility for federal support kinds of programs and housing, and You have a bunch of descendants of people who are living with colonization and broken treaties, and I go, where's ours? And so it doesn't take much to ignite those conflicts, but I haven't heard of any for quite a while now, and we're figuring out how to really coexist. And a lot of our people that come to our gallery or our farmers market or Powell Grounds coffee shop are neighbor people, Somali. And so there's just a lot of interaction, and we got to stand together on stuff like this, right? I mean, we're all under attack right now. And so, so we got to stand together.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, there's a lot happening in the American Indian Culture Corridor right now. And can you share some of the community infrastructure and organizational developments that are taking place?
Yeah, you sound like me. Your vocabulary.
I'm reading your text. That's why I sound like.
Yeah, but as a policymaker, I'm always using words like infrastructure and blah blah blah. But we really have a really robust urban Indian, and I'll use the word infrastructure, organized infrastructure, and we have leadership at all levels, whether it's formal leadership, heads of organizations like me, or people in the community that are just stepping out to make this community a better place, and everything in between. And actually, one of my earlier conversations today was with community members about this. What do we do to support people in leadership? And a lot of people in the grassroots level don't really view themselves as leaders, but they are, right? And how do we support them? And so, at NACD, we're not a service organization. We are fundamentally a systems change organization, and we need to be authentically grounded in community. So we do that around some of our program areas, like our art gallery, All My Relations Arts, internationally renowned now for being this tiny little gallery on the American Indian Cultural Corridor. We have our Four Sisters Farmers Market, super popular, kind of a place to see and be seen during the market season. We have our Four Sisters Urban Farm. We have our Make Voting a Tradition, which is robust, engage in the political process and policymaking process, right? Nonpartisan, of course, we're a nonprofit. But, and so that keeps us really in the community. And then we work at the systems level, policy level, just about everyone at NACD is on a board. We're in boardrooms, things like that, working directly with government. And a lot of what we do, it's so fascinating, Robert, that we occupy the space between community and these non-native institutions and organizations, and that can be kind of risky space. And instead of sort of trying to translate native perspectives into these non-native institutions, our work is to educate the institutions how to engage with us, how we want to be engaged. And so we were just talking about some of these, they're kind of obtuse or obscure examples, but it's like, we're changing a system here, right? And sometimes this work can be very hard to gauge and hard to report on, but it does happen, and it happens one community member at a time.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think you can gauge it by just our eyes, and how I feel like, too, you've really helped in Native American Community Development Institutes, really helped with I don't know how I can say this other than this, and you'll know what I mean, is sharing the wealth and not fighting over crumbs, but sharing these great things, and not living in a silo, I guess.
I just love that you said that. It's really affirming. Thank you, Robert. And how I would phrase it, I haven't used these words for a while, but we have this forced perspective of scarcity, right? This is an impact of colonization, forced assimilation, that we never have enough. We don't have enough to realize our visions here. And I think that's false, right? I think there's enough. There's probably more than enough. But the system, the colonized system, wants us to fight over what appear to be crumbs. And so our work is to flip that mentality of scarcity to a mentality of plenty. There is enough. Let's figure out how we can work together to access what the community needs to realize its own vision, right? Now, someone isn't coming us and telling us what it is we want. We're telling them, here's what we want. Here's how you can resource it or be a partner here. But it is, I mean, it's fundamental to our work, and it makes my heart sing that you would say that.
Yeah, and it's so true. And I what I like, and you know, my background here a little bit. I like how your organization is many different nations, as opposed to one governmental nation that I worked for. And again, a silo of sorts. And I love that term about scarcity. That's the mentality that a lot of us in native governments deal with too.
Right. Agree. And even that sort of urban reservation kind of dynamic, you know, that I would say I've seen so much progress in the last few years, but when the urban community kind of stands up, we're not sovereign nations. We're community members, you know, a lot of nonprofits and things, and we know that, and we support our sovereign nations, but they can get a little nervous if all of a sudden we're directing resources to the urban core, like we're coming after their resources, which of course we're not. You know, the argument is working in collaboration, we can best serve our relatives.
Definitely, and boots on the ground, because there is a distance, you know, physical distance, but also just a distance between government officials and people that are hungry or people that need help and things like that. They may hear about it, but you know, like Native American Community Development Institute is boots on the ground in so many different facets, and you have your ear to the railroad tracks. I feel like what's happening.
That we try, right? And we need to be authentically community based. And so, you know, our organization, I often describe it as being very permeable to community. And, you know, you're in our space a lot of community people are. And as you've seen, we've reconfigured our space. We're just finishing that. And our whole floor, street level floor, is meeting space. You know, tomorrow that space is occupied from 8:30 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. Excuse me, with different configurations of community, some community and government, some of our collaboration, our Good Relatives collaboration. We'll be celebrating the Bush Native American Prize winners at the Indian Center, but then there'll be some subsequent meetings. There's going to be some videographer, you know, videotaping going on there. And it's just, one of our staff members, the brilliant Alex Buffalo, had just put out our schedule for tomorrow. And it's like, dang, we're busy. And we're using every inch of that goofy little yellow building on the American Indian Culture Corridor on East Franklin Avenue to serve the community.
Well, we're wrapping up this segment, and I really like to revisit the way the Native American Community Development Institute kind of runs itself as an organization. And, you know, I love to bring this up and, you know, talk about the struggles of people buying into the system and how well it's worked. And I like to bring that up every once in a while. And if you don't mind, we could talk about that in our last segment together.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're with Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute. You notice I haven't said Native American Community Clinic in a long time, so I should.
I make that same mistake from time to time.
I should get some award. Hey, we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
If you're in need of food resources, Hennepin County is here to help. Food shelves near you are ready with fresh, nutritious food. SNAP remains open. You can continue applying for benefits. If you are expecting or have children ages 0 to 5, WIC can provide even more support. Get connected to free or low-cost food resources near you at hennepin.us/food-help. Again, that address is hennepin.us/food-help.
MNsure is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Looking for health insurance but not sure where to start? MNsure has you covered. You can find discounts, compare private health plans, and see if you qualify for free or low-cost insurance plans. Plus, get help from an expert so you can save on the coverage you need. Enroll online by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Get started today at mnsure.org. That's mnsure.org.
A reminder to anyone who rides Metro buses. That means the A, B, C, D, gold, orange, or red lines. Remember to pay your fare before you get on. Either buy a ticket at your station's ticket machine, tap your go-to card, or pass to the reader at the station, or activate a ticket on the Metro Transit app. Have your proof of payment ready to show to trip agents if asked, or risk getting a citation. Thanks for riding with Metro Transit. Again, that's Metro Transit.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are with Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute, NACD, here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis. And Robert, I'd like to revisit kind of the story and the transformative story that you work with your other workers with, and just tell us a little of the story and a little of the pushback and where you're at now.
Great. I hope this is what you were asking about. But like a lot of Native orgs, we strive to indigenize our operations, right? And so what does that mean? And especially in the complexity of a 21st century urban Indian community, what does this mean to indigenize? Whose indigeneity are we talking about and things? And so this is a very active kind of conversation and effort within NACD. And I feel like we are doing a pretty good job. And one of the fundamentals, we have a few fundamentals. One is Indigenous first, right? We are here to serve the Native community primarily. And of course, we have our allies outside of the Native community, but it's Indigenous first. We also demand reciprocity from our partners. And this is something that we've been exercising for a number of years. And it's so automatic to us now. If someone comes to us to ask for something, it's like, okay, and what are you giving us? It's so Indigenous. If you're going to ask for something, you give something, right? And so those are just sort of fundamental operating. But I will say the biggest shift in our perspective was from something that I learned from one of our revered elders here, Linda Eagle Speaker, about an Indigenous approach is to care for yourself first, your family second, and then your community third. And as she was teaching me this, Robert, I would push back and I'd be like, oh, Linda, we're Indigenous. We care for the whole. And she would talk to me almost like I was a small child, which I loved. And she'd say, no, Robert, that's the colonizer's way. They're always trying to take care of everything else. Not for the Indigenous way is take care of yourself, take care of your family, and then take care of your community. And so I didn't really have any proof, but I thought, okay, I'm going to believe this elder. And so I started to integrate that approach into my own life. And I saw the transformation it had on me, my work, my energy and things like that. Oh, okay. So we started to expand that to all of NACD staff. And of course, they resisted because it is not how we have been conditioned. Right. But as we adopted this, it's been several years, probably 3 years, 3.5 years, that this has been our approach. The effect on our workforce and on our work has been transformational. And people come to our work and they're cared for, they know their families are cared for, and they give 150%. to serving the community. And I don't know why not just nonprofits, but businesses don't operate this way. It's so profit, dollar driven, or, in a lot of nonprofits, there's a ton of oversight and so much energy is put into almost beating people down, and it's building people up. And it's a joy. It's a joy to work in that environment. It's a joy to watch these young Native professionals that I work with just blossom.
Yeah, not used to it. And so have you had any people come and ask you how you've done this? And are you open to people that are listening, maybe to have you reach out and talk about this? Because to me, this is transforming a workforce that right before my eyes.
That's what it has been. And yeah, people do ask, and there's another local organization. It's called Tawahi Foundation, and they do a lot of leadership development. One of our staff just went through a whole leadership cohort. It was a brilliant experience for her. And so with the lead of the Tawahi Foundation, we were trying to figure out how we can maybe integrate our work and support each other to do that. And the CEO there is Nikki Paratas, and another young, brilliant, emerging leader. And she said this to me, and it meant a lot. She said, we were talking about indigenizing the workplace. And she said, a lot of folks talk about doing that, and at NACD, you're actually doing it. I'm like, okay, you never know if people see what you're doing or notice what you're doing. And so that was very affirming. So we're going to try to, kind of more sort of institutionalize this. I would love to write in it. I'm not a very disciplined writer. I love writing, but I would love to publish on this. I've talked to the elder Linda Eagle Speaker about maybe co-publishing. She does this kind of indigenization of systems. That's her thing, right? I mean, she's also a medicine kind of carrier for her tribe. But anyway, so I'm trying to figure out how to. A lot of folks are doing it. I'm guessing some people are doing it better than we are, and that's great. But I would love to share more.
Well, I know, and again, I'm not speaking from experience, but I've heard if you do 2 pages of writing a day, or 1 page or 2 pages a day, you'll have a whole book in a year. So, I mean, if you keep it small, and I don't mean to be giving you advice, but I love it. Advice is make it smaller, because it's really, and you've been doing this for a few years now, and it's been really, it needs to be brought out there, and decolonizing the workspace is a great title, by the way.
Yeah, I don't like using the word decolonize unless I have to. I'd rather say indigenize the workplace. So I don't want to put in the colonizer's framework. And we integrate, to indigenize our workspace, we integrate ceremony and practices and languages and things and ways of being together, right? That are respectful and, and as we enter our elder years, I want to reinforce respect for elders in our workplace as well.
Yeah, here on that. Well, I love to bring this up every few months, 3-4 months, and talk about this because of the work of Native American Community Development Institute and the groundwork that you're leaving too. Because years ago when we were doing the 2-hour show, we'd have a nice conversation but talk about who are the next leaders that are going to take. What now? We're baby elders, and we have to look for the next group of people and have it set up for them.
Right. One of the things we've just started this at NACD, and I'm interested to see where it goes, but is talking about generational succession, right? But normalizing that, and not just of leadership, all of us. I've asked our staff at NACD to think around, if I'm not here, who does my work? If I'm not here, how does my work get done? And then that will sort of translate into planning for succession and for the strength of the organization and the community for that matter. And so we're really trying to normalize that in our day-to-day, the idea of succession planning.
Wow. We got like a minute and a half left here, and I'd love for you, I'm really, thank you so much for bringing this up again, and it's great to hear in the forefront, because that's not how we were brought up here locally, at least for me. And I love to hear about that. So we got like a minute left. What would you, in regards to, what would you like to talk about? Because I always think of Wendy going, ask Robert what he wants to talk about.
Yeah,
So I got a minute here.
Well, one thing I just want to bring up, and this is part of what's going on tomorrow as well, is we have the American Indian Cultural Corridor. It's this important stretch of East Franklin Avenue that's very strongly identified with the Native community, but there's all kinds of cultures there. There's Norway House, the Norwegian kind of center is there. There's all this stuff going on, and there's a lot of interest. The Wall of Forgotten Natives, our large homeless encampment, is within this footprint. And MnDOT, our Minnesota Department of Transportation, is trying to figure out what to do there now to kind of memorialize that. We have an important light rail station there. That's being redesigned right now. And a lot of it's being done kind of separate from the community voice. So, of course, at NACD, we're all about getting the community voice centered in these kinds of processes, and we're having some success. And so tomorrow's going to be kind of a pivotal day. We'll see where it goes.
Robert, thank you so much. It's always great to see you, and always great to listen to the great work and your perspective on what's happening. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. You bet, Robert.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll see you tomorrow with State Senator Mary Kunesh. Hoa.
The city of Minneapolis